Night, 8 o'clock our time to talk about it with Coach Jeff Tedford. Coach, how's that sound? The bowl-eligible Bulldogs after just 9 games in your first year here.
It's good. It's one of the goals we started out to accomplish at the beginning of the season, to become bowl-eligible. So it's nice to have that behind us, but we have a lot of work to do, and tough game this week going on the road to Hawaii.
Was there something when you looked back at that game on Saturday night against BYU that you felt like made the difference? Because you're really in the same situation you were in a week before, tied going to the fourth quarter. This time you guys got it done. What do you think made that difference?
Well, we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot. Last week it was, a snap over the head. It was a fumble punt return. Key penalties. Things like that we didn't make those mistakes this week. We were didn't turn the football over and created a turnover at a key time. It was really a team effort in all 3 phases as the offense responded with the drive to score. Then Blake, the punt team, great punt down inside the 10-yard line, and then a forced turnover at the end of the game. So all 3 phases had something to do with it.
Jeff Allison is the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week again, and it seems like your defense kind of got its swagger back in this game.
Yeah, played well, but still giving up a little too much. Long drives, keeping our offense off the field, and there was 15-play drive, 14-play drive, I think, in there, and so we need to do a better job of getting off the field on third down, and because having the offense set on the sideline for long periods of time, we don't get very many possessions in the game. And so even though we're doing a good job once we get in the red zone to hold them out of the end zone, we need to get off the field a little bit earlier and let our offense get back on.
Last one for me. How do you evaluate the challenge in front of you this week?
It's huge. You look at any time you go to Hawaii, they're always very, very tough over there. I remember back in the day when I was here before, be one way 1 week here or 1 year here where it would go our way pretty handily, and then you go over there and lose the next year. They are they're a really good football team over there. They play very, very hard. Offensively, they're second in the conference in total offense. I think right around like 440 yards a game. They can throw it, they can run it. They're very explosive. So it's going to be a challenge, no doubt, and we need to have a really good week of preparation to be ready to go over there to compete.
Who else has questions for Coach Jeff?
Coach, what has impressed you the most about Jordan Mims stepping into the role of being the guy with Ronnie being hurt?
Well, I think ball security has been key. And, especially some of the physical games that we played, running inside and hanging on to the football for a young guy. Having 2 true freshmen back there playing with him and Ronnie, Jordan's done a good job of running hard between the tackles and hanging on to the football, and doesn't make many assignment errors. So sometimes when you have freshmen playing, there's assignment errors, and he does a good job of being dialed into the game plan and doing his job. So he's been very solid as in the last couple of weeks when he's got a lot of carries.
As you go through your weekly evaluations of players, and you do so with the coaches as well, what do you like about Kalen DeBoer and Orlando Steinauer and how they've been able to adapt your philosophy and connect with the players to have the success that you're having this season?
Well, I think they've done a really, really good job, of implementing plans, of communicating it to the players, having everybody on the same page. Motivation's a big deal, obviously. It's not just them individually. It's the staffs on both sides of the ball, as well as Coach Christian, the special team coordinator. They've all done a really good job of working together to implement the plan, to put it together and then implement it. So it's a cohesive group. I would say the whole staff is, and they work really, really hard to get things done, and work well together. And the communication is really good, and that's what it takes. It takes both sides of the ball, or all three phases of the game, to be able to communicate about what's going on and how to put together a game plan and then implement it and get it practiced and get it taught, and then go out and try to execute it. So, my hat's off to our staff. They've done a really fine job so far.
Coach, Hawaii is a place that's full of potential distractions. What do you do to minimize those distractions in Hawaii?
Well, we're going to go a day early, and I think sometimes that helps. Going a day early does a few things in my mind. It gets our body acclimated to the time change, and can kind of get the distraction out of the way, because a lot of people never been to Hawaii before, so they go and they're big-eyed, and we're going to go on Thursday, and Friday we're going to have an opportunity to go to Pearl Harbor, and I think that's really important that our kids understand the history and the respect for our veterans, and so that's going to be something that will be kind of like a field trip for us a little bit, and kind of take up some of the time. We're not going to spend a lot of time out roaming around doing stuff, but going a day early can kind of help get you settled down a little bit, I think.
Are you staying in a remote place, like far away from Waikiki and those potential distractions?
I don't even know where we're staying, to tell you the truth. Our DFO does that, but we will make sure that we discuss it. I've been there plenty of times to know. I've been there for bowl games before, been there to play, just conference games before. And so our kids will have enough time going there early to be able to kind of get some of that out of their system. And then, as we grow closer to the game, it's a business trip. And so that's why I said, going a day early can kind of get some of that out of your system and help get you focused for game day.
It's a big difference, a game like this and a bowl game trip, right? I mean, the bowl games are supposed to be fun. You're enjoying yourself. You have different events. This is a lot different.
Well,
correct?
yeah, but still going a day early, you got to be careful that it's the whole thing is not just a grind. I mean, the anxiety performance level goes up and down, and so you don't want to stay on edge for long periods of time like that. We really have to make sure that we're smart about going and staying relaxed, but staying focused the first day that we're there, and then as we grow closer to Friday night and our meetings and things like that, it's critical. We call it the critical 48. Is the 48 hours leading up to game time, but we have to know when to completely dial in. We'll be focused, but we have to make sure that we're not too tense and too tight the whole time. You just can't stay that way. You have to peak at the right time.
What do you like about Marcus's efficiency, going 118 throws without an interception, not turning the ball over?
Well, just that is that he hasn't made poor decisions. Some of his misses last week had to do with some of BYU. Give credit to BYU. They had a 6'9" defensive end and another great defensive end, a number 16, that really put some pressure and was kind of had their hands in his face and caused a couple errant throws. But decision making has been really good. He hasn't forced things, which is critical. It's like I talked to the team yesterday. If you take a look at the top four teams or the top two teams in each division, there's a correlation between the top four teams in the conference as far as turnover ratio and winning the turnover margin, and we're one of those. And so it's critical that we hang on to the football. I mean, that stat doesn't lie. That stat stays consistent every single year. And I just wanted to reiterate it to them yesterday about how important it was to continue to not turn the football over. And we like to create more turnovers defensively. But being smart with the football is a big deal, and I think that's where his experience comes into play a little bit, that he's not a young guy that feels like he's got to force things. He can be patient.
Coach, how important is it that you guys are in the driver's seat? You control your own destiny down the stretch in the West.
Well, I mean, it's where we are now, you know, but we really can't look too much at that. It's really about 1 week at a time, like we always talk about. And learned a big lesson 2 weeks ago about, if we don't play well and you turn the football over and you make mistakes, anything can happen. So it's all about our preparation, our focus, and execution going into each game. And have a lot of respect for Hawaii. They play really, really hard. They're explosive on offense. They can score a lot of points, and their defense flies around. So just have to have a really good week. And the big picture will take care of itself. If we can just take care of the small things, the big things will take care of themselves. It was, yeah. I think it was Hawaii and then San Jose, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
When you watched that game, did you think there was a chance to be 6-3 this year?
Well, I didn't even think about that. It was had a lot of other things on my mind. I didn't think about next year, or had no idea at that point who we were. I was just trying to evaluate what was going on. I was trying to evaluate players. I was trying to evaluate body language. I was trying to evaluate coaches. I was trying to do all that. I had no idea. I wasn't even thinking about this far down the line, and never have really. It's just one game at a time, and that's how we approach things. And so we still got a lot of football to play.
How have you changed it? And you said, talk about who you were last year at this point and who you are at this point. What's changed there?
Well, I really can't speak to that because I wasn't here last year, so I don't want to. I can't comment on last year so much because I don't know what they were being asked to do. I know certain things in the day-to-day procedures that we've probably made adjustments to that have helped our team, be it with schedule, be it with nutrition, be it with strength and conditioning, the whole bit. Practice schedule, how we practice, all the little things that maybe wasn't the same as last year. The standard, the expectation, I don't really want to speak on last year because I wasn't here. I was here for those 2 games, but I was really just a spectator. I had no idea what they were being asked to do or anything like that. It was, so we never get into last year and what last year was or wasn't or what have you. It's just really been a focus on our day-to-day preparation to try to create a standard that we uphold and our expectation of ourselves to work hard every single day and take care of the details, and that's what it's been all about.
Explosiveness on offense with Diosmy St. Just and an experienced quarterback now in Drew Brown. But what about the Rainbow Warriors on the defensive side of the ball, and especially that middle backer, Jelani Tavai? Do you see him jumping off when you're watching film?
Yeah, no doubt. All of them, really. They fly around. They do a lot of things on defense. They're unconventional. They move around a lot. They put guys in a lot of different places, but the linebacker is a very good player. One of the top in the conference in tackles for loss, and they do a really good job that way. They're very physical. They play really hard. That's one thing. You turn on the tape and they're flying around, and they take a lot of pride in who they are. And I'm sure they're going to come out the same way this week. And like I said, any home game that they have, it just seems like they're a little bit different team on the island, And so they're a prideful group for sure, and they play very hard and they're tough players.
I believe Saturday is 1 year to the day of when you were hired to be Fresno State's football coach. Have you given any thought to how the last year has been, just overall your thoughts on from the day you were hired until where you are right now?
No. I take very little time to reflect on anything except for, what happened like 10 minutes ago when we were watching the tape. It's last week's over, and, the past is the past and all that kind of stuff. The only thing that I did reflect on a little bit with our team in our team meeting yesterday was the goals that we set out to do, and ask them, when did we show these goals? And it was as early as last spring on what our goals were, and they're very simple. And you know, all we've really done to this point is put ourselves in a position to possibly play in a bowl game, to have a chance at a bowl game, and that's really all we've done. Besides that, we haven't done anything, and there's a lot of work to be done. But no, there's been no reflection on, you know, has it been a year or whatever. I couldn't have told you that at all. You know, it seems like it's gone by really, really fast. You know, we have 3 games left now, and you know, it seems like the season's gone by really quick. You know, so, but yeah, I never take really any time to reflect on anything that's gone on. It's just about the future, what's going to happen tomorrow and today in preparation and that type of thing. That's really the focus.
Is the next big picture goal to play for the conference championship? I mean, obviously winning Saturday is the immediate goal, but on the season-long goals, is that the next one?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, those are the goals going in. As I'm sure every team in the conference, I don't think it's any different than any team. You know, when you set your goals, you know, our goal is to win the Mountain West Championship in our bowl game with class, integrity, and academic excellence. That's our goal, and you know, it covers all of that. You know, so the only thing that we've accomplished is to put ourselves in a position to have a chance to play in a bowl game. But besides that, we still have a lot out there. You know, we have a very tough road game this week, and that's really what we're focused on, 100%. And you know, we got to take one day at a time. And I think our players understand that. And you know, but I think it was important to kind of tell them where we are right now and just reiterate what our goals are. And we do have 3 games left, but I think they're mature enough now to understand that it's one day at a time, because that's what gets preached around here all the time.
What are the personality and character traits of your team that you like?
I like that they work hard. I like that they can stay focused on the job at hand, and that they prepare well. And so that's, you know, I have a lot of respect for our team, because I think our players work hard, they try hard, they try to do what you ask them to do. They fly around. They've really kind of bought into the things that they've been asked to do, and it's been a process over a period of time. But I think we play really hard. Our team gives great effort. Whether we win or whether we don't, our team gives great effort. And I think that's one thing you can take pride in as a coaching staff, and is that the kids play hard. No matter what, you know you're going to get their all.
Is there a trait or a personality quirk that you don't like, that you think needs improvement still?
Yeah, always. We're always growing. You know, we're dealing with 17 to 22-year-old kids. You know, so you know, it's growth and development every day, and it's not just about football. You know, there's a lot of things going on in these kids' lives that's part of what we do. This isn't just about football. You know, this is about academic, athletic, social, spiritual, everything. You know, these kids have families, everybody has issues in their lives. Everybody in this room has issues in their lives. These kids are no different, you know, and so something pops up all the time. You know, poor Dante Coleman will be back tomorrow, you know, and my heart goes out to him. His mother was killed in a car accident a week ago, and he had to go home. And so there's just so many things that go on in the kids' lives. It's not just about football. You know, there's a lot of other things that go on in kids' lives that we have to, you know, that we have to monitor. So it's a learning experience all the way. They're not perfect, you know, but we take each day at a time, and there's lessons to be taught from time to time, and, you know, and that's part of it. You know, when I talk about class and integrity as part of our goal, that's a big piece of it. You know, that we do this with class, we do it with integrity, and we talk about those things. And, you know, so it's not just about X's and O's. This is about the whole person and what they're getting out of their education here. And it's not just on the football field, and it's not just in the classroom. Is as a complete person.
Is that what the Pearl Harbor trip is partially about, that, to give them a cultural experience or something, get them thinking about something bigger than themselves in football?
Absolutely. Yeah, and we did it this week. You know, we were honoring the veterans at the game, and we had Lieutenant Colonel Buckner come in and speak with us on Friday night. He gave a great message to us, and and I thought it was very powerful. And we do that every Friday night. We take half the meeting and we talk about something other than football, and then we talk about football. But typically our meetings on Friday night have to do something with life lessons.
And, you made a point earlier about your defense, how teams have been able to sustain drives, keep your offense off the field. But, I mean, that is preferable to the alternative, right, of you giving up quick scoring drives, correct?
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, you want to always make teams earn what they get, because it's hard to continue to drive, without making a mistake. And, the good thing is we've limited the explosive plays. We haven't had, knock on wood, we haven't had a lot of big plays against us. But while they're moving the ball, our offense is on the sideline. It's been like that, the last couple of weeks. And so every drive at that point now becomes really critical for the offense. And, thankfully we answered that last week when they tied it, and we were able to go the field and score a touchdown. That was huge.
On the subject of personality and character, how has Chase and Virgil handled the last 6 weeks with Marcus being the guy?
Great. Yeah, he's done a great job. That room's real solid, and Jorge Reyna and Chasen, they're all in it together. They get along well. They encourage each other. They complement each other, and so it's a good environment there with those guys. Chasen's done a good job with that.
Coach, you've been fortunate this year. None of your games have really had any kind of weather element to them. The next 2 weeks, that could change. We saw the snowstorm in Laramie against Colorado State the other day, and the Dogs have played plenty of games at Aloha Stadium where those downpours come and can affect things. Any concerns about your team's preparedness for situations where, besides the defense and the crowd, that weather is going to become a factor?
Well, sure. I mean, you get to this time of the year, that's what it's all about, and I wouldn't say we haven't had to deal with weather. It was 110 degrees here when we first started, so that's part of weather. Our whole camp was in 110 degrees, I think, and that built some toughness with us. We had, over 3-hour practices in 110 degree weather. But yeah, when it starts getting, when other things come into, like last week, we felt like it was going to rain, that the forecast early in the week was for it to rain, so we practiced with wet balls. We dumped balls in barrels of water and made the quarterbacks throw them and the receivers catch them and all that, So whatever we feel like may be coming up, we're going to do our best to simulate it. Some things are just out of our control, so we'll do our best we can to try to simulate the environment we're going into.
Well, I hope you don't have to go to China Peak to prepare for the Laramie game there.
What's the altitude? Maybe we will.
What is it, 6,000, 7,000 maybe? Something like
Really?
that?
Okay,
Yeah,
that might
pretty
be
comfortable.
That might be a good day. Yeah.
Anything else about this rivalry with Hawaii or Coach Rolovich, his personality in the program, and what you're looking forward to about Saturday night?
Well, Coach Rolovich has done a really good job. I've, in the short amount of time that I've got to know him in this last year, he's a class act. Really has done a really good job as a coach and putting his players in a position to have success. And so I have a lot of respect for him and have a lot of respect for the program. We've played against Hawaii a lot of times, in my past while I was here, and then again, over there in bowl games. But he's done a really, really good job, and I'm sure he's going to have his team motivated and ready to play.